The Minnesota Vikings defense as a whole in 2021 had many issues. We were not overall as a complete defensive unit. We were not very good. I think one of the biggest struggles of that defense was the cornerback room. Obviously, we brought in Patrick Peterson for that veteran experience. He got injured with the hamstring, missed a few games, but you could tell that the cornerbacks did better with him there. I think his leadership was great. I think his on the field stuff was good. He still got some tread left on the tires. Still got some juice. He's still a solid corner. But after him, though, man, it was just a hodgepodge of guys who just weren't that good. Guys who are good players, and I think they have a bright future, just weren't used properly, as well as some guys who, attitude might have gotten in the way of how they played.
Who's that? We have cornerbacks that had attitude issues.
Yeah, right. Who would have ever guessed? I mean, one of them might have even talked about his Johnson for a while. I don't really know. But yeah, cornerbacks were I think they were a very large part of the defense's issues, which, I mean, a lot of that could be attributed to pass rush as well. But
right.
I don't know. What are your thoughts on the cornerback situation?
Yeah, I definitely agree. That was our worst position group. I think the thing that makes me mad the most is still the Mike Zimmer thing. And I think there's a player in particular that should have been starting right off the bat. And I think I don't think they were put into positions to succeed. And I do think Patrick Peterson's injury was a big problem, especially at the time, around the time it happened. But yeah, I mean, there's no question about it. It's in a place that we need to figure it out. And then when we get more into when we get more into the draft stuff and stuff like that, I wouldn't be surprised. And I already actually know from a lot of polls and stuff on Twitter that, most fans are with us on this and are probably thinking cornerback coming into the first round and the draft coming up this year, which makes total sense, even though we've literally picked a cornerback in the first round. Half was Zimmer's tenure here, but it obviously didn't work out well enough. So I think we probably would go that direction, but it all depends on what we do with our free agents and stuff like that, of course. But
yeah, for sure. Yeah. So let's jump right into it here. Patrick Peterson.
Before you get too far, though, I do want to thank everybody for watching the GG Sport podcast of the Minnesota Vikings, where we endure heartbreak but always bleed purple. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, get notifications when we make videos, and all that good stuff. Let's move on here.
I almost cut out the most important part of the video there. My bad. Let's start with Patrick Peterson. 13 games played, 45 tackles, 1 interception. The pick 6 he had week 18 against Chicago Bears. He had never gone a season without a touch or without an interception, and he kept the streak alive. He allowed 56.6% completion against him off 76 targets, allowed 2 touchdowns and a 63 PFF grade. I thought Patrick Peterson had a solid season. I mean, we knew it coming in. He wasn't the Patrick Peterson of old, obviously, but he still brought a lot to the table. I thought he had a very solid year. I would like to see him back next year. I don't know if they'll bring him back. If you do, it'd have to be a pretty cheap contract. I would like to see Patrick Peterson back next year with this team. So I thought he played really well. What are your thoughts there?
I agree. I'd like to see him back, but yeah, he's, we got to pay him for his skill level at this point in his career. I would say he definitely had a very solid year. He was our most consistent cornerback, no questions asked. But, I was probably hoping for a little bit more when we got him coming into this year. I was just hoping for, I think he still had a better season last year than he did the year before for the Cardinals. But I was still hoping as Viking fans, I feel like sometimes we get kind of lucky with these older quarterbacks, or not quarterbacks. Well, Brett Favre's a good example, but players that, kind of didn't play the best and then come to our team or something like that. And then they kind of have like a bounce back year.
Yeah.
So I was kind of hoping like that for him, but it was still pretty solid.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to see the interceptions up a little bit more. But still, you can't argue the 56.6% completion against him isn't, it's not awful. It's under average. Under average for quarterback completion. So
right.
I thought he had a solid year. Any other thoughts on him before we go into grading?
No, I think that's good.
The grading's kind of tough on him. Like, I want to give him a good grade because I thought he did play well. But like you said, there probably could have been more, and the injury stuff kind of sucked. Unfortunately, I mean, obviously you can't really control that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and I probably might get some flack for this, I think a B is a fair grade for Patrick Peterson this year?
A B? I would say, no, what? I'm going to go with a B as well. I think so. I mean,
I wanted
I
to go
would,
B plus, but there just wasn't enough there for me to.
no,
B
I
plus.
don't think he's a B plus. I was actually stuck between a B and B minus. I think he did really solid. He didn't do anything. He wasn't a lockdown corner. I mean, he was pretty good though, I would say. But I mean, the lack of interceptions. He's a guy who he's led the league in interceptions at least a couple times, I believe.
Yeah.
So, I was hoping to see more of that when he came here. I guess that's probably the main thing with him coming. I was really hoping to see a bounce back in his interceptions.
Right.
He's still super cool to have, and he is such
Yeah.
a good person to have in that cornerback group, and I would like to see him again next year. But I think B's a good grade for him last year.
I would agree. Moving on. Moving on.
This guy.
Oh my God. Bashaud Johnson Breeland, everybody. Give him a round of applause. 13 games. Would have been more if he didn't get cut. 63 tackles, 1 interception, 2 forced fumbles, 63.6% completion when targeted, 88 targets total, 7 touchdowns, and a lowly 47.2 PFF grade. Man, Bashaud Breeland came in. Everybody thought we're going to get a solid starter out of the guy.
Yep.
I liked his attitude when he first got here. I know his first press conference, he was ready to go, full of energy, but then the season happened. And he got burnt for a lot of touchdowns. He had the 1 interception against Carolina. Everyone's like, he's turning the corner, best corner in Vikings right now. Let's go. And then the rest of the season happened. Him and Chris Tomlinson don't get along.
The fans. I mean, him talking to the fans,
kind of like hyping up the fans to keep booing him and stuff. Very. I don't know, man. Very unimpressed.
Yeah, obviously it wasn't. But see, I think this is another example that I was saying with people putting our cornerbacks in bad positions or just not in the right positions. We'll get more into Cameron Dantzler and stuff like that, but just the fact that Cameron Dantzler had such a good rookie season, and then Mike Zimmer could not start him and play him, and Bashaud Breeland was obviously doing very bad for a lot of the season before they finally gave Dantzler his turn, and Dantzler definitely outperformed them. And I think I put a lot of our cornerback issues honestly on Zimmer for doing something like that. Like, he was obviously not doing well, and all the fans said it. I mean, we said it for weeks, and Dantzler, and it took him that long. And then Dantzler comes in and plays better. It's like, what are you doing, Mike Zimmer? What is going on there? What's I don't know. You're that stubborn. I don't know what Dantzler did, but you literally got fired from your job. So hopefully those decisions worked out for you. But
going into grading, F.
Yeah, I got to give him F. I mean, he's not even on the team anymore. He gets an F. The only thing I did like about him, though, I thought he did an all right job at getting behind, attacking screens. That's one thing I've seen about him. Whenever there was a little screen there, he seemed to get in there pretty quickly and get him down. I noticed that out of him.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think he did miss some tackles outside of that, but I don't know, for whatever reason, that stood out to me.
Yeah, but we're both going F on him. It's an F for Bashaud Johnson Breeland. Okay, well, we'll see if he gets put. I mean, I think he got picked up by Arizona or something like that, I think, right after. So he might be on a team next year. Who knows? Probably.
Yeah, I think he probably will be.
Yeah. This to me is the biggest disappointment of the 2021 season. Mac Alexander. He played 16 games, 5 starts, 51 tackles, 65.7% completion, allowed against him on 70 targets, allowed 5 touchdowns, and even lower grade than Bashaud Breeland with the 40.2. I had high hopes when Mac came back. I thought he played very well in the slot for us in years prior. He had a solid season in Cincinnati. I was pumped to see him come back, but he really, really underperformed. It was disappointing. I again, high hopes, and
I had high hopes too. Him coming back, just I don't know. He played really well for us right before he left. He chased that contract, and then we got him back. So I was like, oh, we're getting the same guy back or whatever. And I mean, the stats show for sure on that one. So that was definitely a disappointment. And honestly, I mean, half the times I almost forgot he was even on our team. I'd be like, oh yeah. I mean, even when I made this, honestly, I'm not even kidding. When I made this, I kind of went down the line with even Breeland, and he's not even on our team anymore. And then I'm like, who am I missing? I'm like, oh, Mackensie Alexander. What the hell? How am I keep forgetting about him?
Yeah. So I don't know. Do you give him an F grading wise?
I'll give him a D minus.
D minus. All right, I'll match you. I'll match you D minus.
I'll give him a D minus.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give him an F. I feel like giving Fs is harsh, but if you get cut from the team and you're playing bad and
Playing
there's
Mike
another
Johnson.
player there that could have been playing better, maybe that's.
Yeah,
I'll give Mike Zimmer part of that F probably,
yeah.
but
So D minus for him is fair. I think that's a good grade.
yeah.
I don't think he'll be back next year, unfortunately. So sad to see.
No,
but what
I
do you
don't
do?
think so.
Moving on to the man in the dog in Mike Zimmer's doghouse, Cameron Dantzler. 14 games, 7 starts, 53 tackles, 1 interception, 1 forced fumble, 54.1% completion percentage allowed on 74 targets, allowed 3 touchdowns, and a solid 72.4 PFF grade. Cameron Dantzler was, like we talked about, so misused this year. Zimmer, I don't know what he had against him coming into the season. Maybe he didn't work hard enough, whatever. Zimmer, whatever. But Dantzler should have been a guy getting on the field a lot earlier. As you mentioned, the struggles of Breeland. He still didn't get on the field until Breeland got himself cut from the team.
Yep.
Man.
And even Dantzler had, his first couple games as a starter were not the greatest. I think he was getting picked on even a little bit, but he put it together. I mean, a lot of that can be just because he just didn't get playing time, and he needed to kind of warm up a little bit or something like that, because he started pulling it together big time there. And it's just like, what if he was the starting cornerback all year? I mean, we've only lost what was the record again? 15 games or 13 games. I forgot what it is, by less than 8 points, whatever. We broke that record. If he was our starting quarterback the entire season, especially earlier in those games, having someone like him instead of Bashaud Breeland might have won a couple of those games, and we could have maybe made playoffs just because of that. And I think a lot of it comes down to Mike Zimmer, with his stubbornness. Maybe it was worth it for him, I don't know, but just his stubbornness playing rookies and second-year players and stuff.
Yeah,
I just didn't get it. But
yeah, when it comes to grading, I mean, there are a lot of question marks surrounding his season. I'm going to give him some question marks. I think, just like with Daniil Hunter in that other video, I think it's inconclusive. I don't know how you can give him a grade not knowing how he played in a full slate of games. I mean, obviously he had his ups and downs, but I don't know what to think of him. I'm going to give him an inconclusive grade for the season, honestly.
Man, it is tough. I'm not going to do that, but we give Patrick Peterson a B. I'm going to I think I'll give him a B too. I think, with everything that went on with him, it's hard to give him anything higher than a B, I think. I don't even though he had some A games, I think, but I think a B.
Yeah. That's
even though his stats, it's a little bit better than Patrick Peterson's, but he only also played 7 starts.
Yeah. But again, not his fault. Probably some of that was Zimmer's fault. But
exactly.
Then obviously a couple guys not mentioned. Well, one guy not mentioned, Chris Boyd.
No, well, Chris Boyd, and then so this is interesting. So Chris Boyd, I was thinking about putting him on there. He really didn't play that much, and he didn't really do that great. I think he had a 70% pass completion percentage towards him, and 5 touchdowns. So I don't know. Not very good in a short amount of time.
He had the one on sportsmanlike conduct penalty that killed us against Pittsburgh.
Right. Which I like him a lot, though, and he's a locker room favorite. I do like him, but
I mean, I was excited when because when Patrick Peterson came in, he was they showed in the training camp videos, he was one of the first guys trying to pick Peterson's brain. He was near him all the time.
Right.
And just sometimes it just doesn't translate down the field. A good special teamer, but when it comes to the cornerback position, I just don't know.
Yeah, there's another cornerback that I didn't want to talk about, though, is Harrison Hand, because he was probably the most hyped cornerback, if not one of the most hyped defensive players through the offseason for us. And I think he maybe got 3 snaps on defense or something. So I'm not really sure what happened with that. Because I was excited for him coming into this season, and we just didn't get to see anything out of him. So
yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to give him a grade just because, like you said, didn't get to see him. Really put him in that. But we just wanted to mention his name. Both of them, they're on the team and is what it is. But I think, Harrison Hand is kind of a training camp wonder boy. People are talking about how great he was playing and just never never translated to the field and stuff. So I don't know. Hopefully we see him a little more next year. But with that being said, that is our review of the Minnesota Vikings cornerbacks. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Let us know down in the comment section your thoughts on the corners. Let us know your grades on all these guys. If you want to check out some other videos of ours, check them out right up here. Most importantly, though, do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Get all of our content throughout the offseason here. And we will see you guys next week in our next episode.
SKOL Vikes.